Hey guys, welcome back to the BBR. Always exciting to have you here with me. You know, it's getting pretty cold. We're getting into winter now. It's getting blustery and unpleasant outside. And so with today's beer, I'd like, if only for a little while, to transport you to a wonderful sun-soaked beach for a summer vacation. Nice little frosty drink in your hand. And what is that drink? Well, it comes to us from Ingenious Brewing outside of Houston. This is their Mai Tai Double FroYo. This is, as they describe it, a milkshake style New England IPA. Now I got a little bit of a theory about hazy IPAs and sour beers, kind of a horseshoe theory, which is that as brewers push these two seemingly very different styles to greater heights of adjuncted insanity, they eventually sort of start to reach a unifying point, which can be found in a style we'll eventually take on, which is the sour fruited hazy IPA. But for today's purposes, we're stopping a little short. This is not a sour beer. This is just a hazy IPA with a lot of fun stuff going on. And as the name Mai Tai implies, we've got orange, that would be the Cointreau. We've got lime, which would be the lime. And we do have orgeat in here. Orgeat being, of course, a almond milk syrup used in the Mai Tai cocktail. So very, very interesting looking beer, one I'm excited to try. So let's crack it open and warm ourselves on a beach somewhere. This past summer, Ingenious did a whole series of these sort of tiki cocktail-inspired hazy IPAs as part of a big festival they had in July down in Houston. And I tell you what, they were some really, really spectacular beers. It's very, very hard to get a hold of this one, but I wanted to bring it to you because it was a really fun thing that they did. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm not going to give you the trademark graphic because I do think we need to examine this, but you'll notice it has a pretty common New England IPA appearance. It's still very light, very thick, practically opaque. It has a little bit of a head going on there. Given that oranges are sort of the dominant fruit involved here, I don't know that we'd expect the color to be any different. But, you know, looks a lot like a New England IPA, so let's go ahead and give it a smell. This smells exactly like the cocktail it advertises. The sort of boozy, orangey aroma of Cointreau is by far the dominant character here. It really does give that sort of heady, candied, almost wine-ish aroma that spirit brings. The tartness of the lime and the sweetness, the almondy marzipan sweetness of the orgeat is also well in evidence. It's really not quite balanced between those three. The orange is a little more prominent, but it does give you all of the advertised flavors. Now I'll say that I could not discover which hops were used in the New England IPA part of this. I would guess Citra based on what they're trying to do here, but I couldn't say that for sure. But on the whole, this is more adjunct forward on the nose than hop forward. So let's go ahead, give it a taste. A very pleasant, sweet, and bitter orange cocktail flavor. I would say that I was expecting a much heavier body based on the sort of FroYo name. There is lactose in this. I don't know if I mentioned that. But on the whole, it's much more of a medium light body. It's not really in the milkshake vein of some of the thicker sours that we've had. You know, the ice cream sour is still fresh in my mind, and it's nowhere near that. And I think that that's good because the sweet orange starts out again as the most prominent note, but it much more quickly goes to the lime and almond flavors. The lime giving it a sour note, and then the almonds giving a slightly bitter note too. You know, again, I don't know if you like marzipan. It's a flavor I really enjoy. And it's like that. It's like biting into a marzipan candy or a Jordan almond or something like that. And so it's a very nice balance between sweet flavors, sour flavors, and bitter, even slightly savory flavors, all in a medium, thick, juicy body. I wouldn't say that hops, again, are much in evidence distinct from those flavors. I would have to believe that the hops that they picked for this beer are ones that naturally gravitate towards the orange and lime flavors that are in here. So maybe we're talking about Citra or Cashmere or possibly even Sabro. And I think it's a credit to Ingenious here that I can't detect a off or distinct hop note from the fruit, because to me, the best way to judge a fruited IPA is whether the fruit flavors and the fruit flavors that the hops evoke are playing off each other. Now, sometimes you might get interesting contrasts, but I think much more often what you get is a pleasant symmetry and synchronicity between those two flavors. And I don't think that every brewery pulls it off. A lot of the fruited IPAs, especially fruited IPAs with lactose or vanilla, I really either get way too much of a dry hop and get sort of a vegetal character, or the adjunct flavors just don't come through. And then neither of those is the problem here. Mai Tai, it's a beautiful cocktail. It's a wonderful tropical cocktail. And I gotta say that they pulled off the effect beautifully here. I love this beer. I am absolutely transported to one of my Florida sojourns right now. Again, if only for a day. I picked this beer today because, my God, is the weather unpleasant here in the Piedmont right now. Anyway, it was very pleasant visiting with you over this beer. Very much glad you can join me. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the BBR. And until then, bye now.